I really want you to take away from today the knowledge and the deep belief that you already are a powerful creator, right? Some people think that they're not. Some people think that other people get it right and they know how to do it and that's easy for them and why do I struggle? But you are always creating, believe it or not. Whatever you have, whatever you've experienced, whatever you have in your possessions or whatever about yourself, right? Even your health, your wealth, your relationships, your career, whatever it is, you are always creating this. The difference is whether you're creating from a place of trying to resolve parts of your identity or connecting with your truth and creating what you would really love. Right? And I want to help you understand the difference of that. And then you can do some reflections during our time together and after as to where you've been creating from, right? What you are creating from. All that you have has been derived from where you have placed your focus. And where you place your focus is where you place your power to create, right? Let me explain this. I've shared this little diagram with you before. You know, you come into a situation with a perspective already. This is what I taught you in the previous program, right? Your perspective creates your perception of that very experience and therefore what meaning you give it, right? And from that meaning, it triggers an emotional experience for you. And therefore your emotions create your physical experience, what's happening at the time for yourself. And therefore that is what the reality is that you're creating for yourself over and over again. The key piece that you need to understand in all of this is that that whole sequence of events reinforces your perspective, right? You're seeking to reinforce your mind when you were a tiny little baby. In fact, you know, some scientists talk about it being in utero before you've even been born, that you are already defining your world around you. You're defining what's happening for you. You're defining who you are as a result of that. You're defining how others are, how the world is, and how you are oriented to survive this world. Humans are not born into the world to thrive in it. We're survival. We're here to survive. We've got this amygdala in our brain that literally triggers the fight, flight reflex, fight, flight, or freeze to survive, right? So, however, if you want to be able to create, not just survive, you want to thrive, then you've got to be able to recognize how your mind works so you can get out of autopilot, get out of living from this unconscious state and move into a conscious state of creation. Creating your life, creating your career, creating your relationships, your wealth, your health, whatever it is, the way you really want it to be. And so to understand that, let me just talk to you briefly, and then I'm going to show you a bit of a diagram that helps you put all this into place, right? Put it all together. Your unconscious mind is where your identity lies, right? This is what you've been creating for yourself all of your life. Formative years, and I know I've taught this to you before, is in the 0 to 7, the first sevens, the rule of sevens. I talk about it. It was probably about the first 5 years, but where deep programming and conditioning occurs for you about who you are in this world. And that all is stored in your unconscious mind. You don't have ready access to it all the time. And then the other part of your mind is your conscious mind. This is you and me here right now. This is your opportunity for using your will. We all have will. We all have the ability to choose. And you consciously choose, right? But you have to, if you don't know you've got these unconscious programs at play and you don't know the symptoms of how they show up or the pattern and the sequence that your unique version of you replicates over and over again in all sorts of different ways in your life. Right? If you don't know what they are, then you can't recognize them to be able to use conscious will to reorient your focus and your power to create from a different place, create from your creative spirit rather than your ego. The third part of your mind is your superconscious, right? This is what's beyond. And I'm going to show you the next diagram. It helps you understand what this is, right? You've heard me say that, our filter of our mind, which is what our unconscious mind is, right? It's this filter that we only let into our mind what we feel or believe to be relevant to us. So that reinforcing loop I just showed you on the previous slide is essentially what your filter's doing. You're seeking information to come into your conscious awareness that reinforces what you believe about yourself and what you believe about the world. But the thing is, you made up that filter, and then you go and seek information to prove that it's true all of your life, right? That's why you keep having these same situations show up, or you keep trying to create change or trying to create different results, and you snap back to the way things are because your ego is saying, this is my identity. I have to stay in place. If I don't stay in place, who am I? Right? So you can't have that result, because that result would prove that you're good enough or you're worthy enough or that, you're perfect or whatever it is. And you can't be that because I believe that I'm not perfect. I believe that I'm not worthy, right? So our unconscious gets in the way of us having our results that we want. It's a cyclical process, and it's crazy, right? Because we made it up in the first place. So your superconscious is what is beyond that. You have access to that. And some people call it your intuition. Some people call it your innate genius, your higher consciousness, your guidance system that is actually available to you all the time. Some people feel that they have naturally more attuned access to that. Others wouldn't have a clue what their gut feel is, or wouldn't, and there's, it's a spectrum, right? So this is about accessing what that is for you. And I teach this, and I don't know if you were in the last few rounds of client rounds in the Shine program last year, where I started to introduce some of these techniques to help people really understand and access their guidance system, their intuition, to make decisions and to see what's next for them, using it in terms of accessing their wisdom and to create from that place. The last part of your consciousness is your subconscious, right? And the powerful thing about this is your subconscious takes whatever message you give it and then acts on it. And those first three parts of your whole consciousness is what informs your subconscious to act. So whatever you're giving your subconscious, whatever information you're feeding it, it says yes to, and then you get that result. That's what you achieve. And most people are informing their subconscious from their unconscious mind, their conditioning, their programs, their beliefs, their systems in place, their programming in place that has been there, that they created in the first place, right? Instead of choosing to see what is truly possible for them, living beyond that, accessing beyond that. What do they really want? What should they do about it next? Is that their true choice? Is that the right next step for them? Rather than replicating more of what they already have. So if you want to create a vision for yourself, right, this is what most people are doing. In fact, many people are doing. You're trying to come up with this vision. So you're setting your intentions for 2023, right? So you come up with these ideas and you're looking and referencing information that is within this filter that's already received through the filter, remembering that the filter is what you made up in the first place, right? Through all of those things that you've gone through in your life. So you are only creating a vision from what you already know. And the only information that gets let in through the filter is information relevant to prove all these things that you made up. So what do you think is going to happen then? You're going to replicate more of what you already have in some other slightly different version, but it's pretty much going to be more of what you already created, because you're creating it only from what you already know or what you want to know, what your subconscious, what your unconscious filter, your ego, your identity only wants you to know. But you want to create more than that. You want to go beyond that, right? You've gone on this journey, you've opened the box of what's possible for you to be able to say, I want something more than what I've had. You've got to be able to access the 400 billion bits of information that are out there before they enter the filter, right? To be able to come up with new ideas, to be able to be innovative, to be able to be expansive in your possibilities and not just replicate a slightly different version or more of what you've already had. This is for you when you do that. Sorry, when you're only creating from within this version, within the filter, then you create misalignment, you continue your self-sabotage, and you get those yo-yoing results I was talking about. Imagine an elastic band. This is what I mean by this, right? I don't have an elastic band here, but imagine I've got one, right? You can all see me here on screen, can you? My face? Yep, great. So imagine what, in this side of my hand, I'm holding the elastic band, and over here is what I don't want anymore. It's what I want to avoid, and it's things like, I don't want to feel unworthy anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm struggling with perfectionism. I don't want to feel like I'm not good enough anymore. Right? And you go and do these things. You pull the elastic band far away by doing things like being an overachiever, being a people pleaser, trying to make sure everyone's happy, trying to prove myself. And you keep trying to get that kind of version of success to fix this feeling of not being good enough or not feeling like you're perfect or whatever it is that you're trying to fix about yourself. So you're stretching this elastic band, and as soon as you let it go, or you take the foot off the pedal, or you lose focus and you forget your rituals and all sorts of things, right? The result, the elastic band snaps back, and those things that you didn't want keep showing up again, because we've set goals and visions based on avoiding what you don't want. They're called false negative visions. And it's really important to understand when you're setting your goals for this year that they're not oriented and anchored in what you don't want. Because when you do that, what you're telling your subconscious mind, the silent instruction you're giving your subconscious mind is reinforcing that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, right? Because the very action of trying to fix it presupposes that there's something about you that needs fixing, right? But you don't need fixing, because you made up that premise. You made up that belief about yourself through your experiences in your life, and maybe some shit stuff has happened to you, right? I get it. But whatever experience you had, you gave meaning to it. You gave a definition of it, and you anchored that over the course of your life into your unconscious mind to say, this is how I want to experience the world. This is who I am in the world, and therefore I'll only seek information that's relevant to prove that to be true. And then I have to go and fix myself by doing all these things that make me feel better, so I don't feel unworthy or insignificant or imperfect or not good enough or whatever. So when you get to that point of realization, you go, yeah, I don't want that anymore. That's shite. I'm not going to do that. I want to actually know what my truth is. I want to stop focusing my efforts and attention and energy in fixing myself. I want to create from my heart's true desire. I want to create a life I really love. I want to create it so that I'm effortlessly drawn towards it, right? That's where you access these 400 billion bits of information to help you get beyond your conditioning in your program to discover what you truly would love, who you are, who you truly are at your core, you would love to create for yourself, right? When you do that, you unlock your heart, your soul's at a soul level, like who are you truly and what you would love to create. Accessing this innate genius that you have in you. All of us have this. We all have the capacity to access it too. You just got to learn how. Okay, I'm going to give you an experience of that today to help you do that. This allows you to create true choices, true alignment. Not the I need to fix myself version. This is actually allowing myself to let go of that and be who I truly am and create a life that I truly love, and then build momentum towards it, right? This is now, imagine I've got the elastic band in this hand, and this is where I want to go, and I'm stretching it back. It's like stretching back a bow, right? When you're going to shoot the arrow and you let go, and you go towards it. You go towards what you want. Not pulling away from what you don't want. You're pulling towards, and you're springing towards, being compelled towards what you do want.